those words would be really nice to hear when that happens.
Yeah.
So great advice if you could implement it. I won't go into the background of that one right now. Thank you so much for joining us today on Second Act TV. So happy to welcome back motivational coach and life strategist, Joni Caldwell Lerner. Joni, thanks for being here again.
Oh, you're so welcome. I'm sorry that's such a mouthful. I really appreciate your intro. It's always great to be here.
Well, and I should add that Joni is the host of Spiritual Aliveness with Joni, a great podcast, and I'll link to that as well. Joni, today a maybe not a groundbreaking topic, but something that is really, I think, important to focus on, and that is the secrets, if you will, to a successful relationship after 50. I happen to have found an article right on that topic, which really focuses on what we do here, whether you've been in a long-term relationship or whether you're starting over again. There's just certain things we need to think about and remember. And so let's just go ahead and let me throw out a few and get your perspective. You always have such great perspective.
Oh,
this one seems real, straightforward, but open your heart fearlessly. That to be successful in a relationship, you can't be afraid to be yourself and share and just be really vulnerable. How hard is that actually to do when you really start thinking about it?
So let's give props to people who have done it. Some people come in highly functional, loving families, and so it's easy for them to do, and they've always done it. And then there are some of us who maybe did not have the most nurturing of upbringings, or maybe we were in a relationship that really stole some of our confidence and our knowing who we are in the world. So maybe, the heart is a little closed off. But I will tell you, if you're willing to live open-heartedly, full-heartedly from that place of authentic, and I use that word a lot, people are out there going, oh, there she is again with authentic. But from that authentic place, and meaning who you really are. Don't worry about whether or not it's going to be received. Be who you are. And that with an open heart and an aliveness. It's your choice.
Yeah. You bring up a great point, and that is we either bring, baggage to a new relationship that inhibits us from being open and honest because we're just never going to go there again. Or we're in a relationship where the patterns have been established for so long that all of a sudden it's weird, to break them. But that is something that can change the trajectory, certainly, of a relationship that might be stuck, right?
Yes, absolutely. And what occurs to me as you're saying that is we learn two ways from people. We either learn who we want to be or who we don't want to be. So in those relationships, bless them as your teachers. If you learn from them and move on from them and create something new from them, then they were a great gift to you. But if you're living in the past in them and being a victim of them or stuck in the energy of that, and you bring that into the next relationship, you will recreate that dynamic, or that person will just go, whoa, peace out.
Yeah.
So bring the healing in, bring the solution in, not the problem.
Yeah, exactly. Here, create emotional safety. What does that mean? The healthy relationships depend on both parties feeling safe. If you do express, like it says here, open your heart fearlessly, that you're not going to be ridiculed for it, or that it's going to be accepted, that that somebody's there that has your back.
So what do you want? Right? What do you want to receive from another person? Then you need to give that. Yeah. So if you're walking into a relationship going, well, they should do this for me and that for me and this for me and that. Well, how about if you want a hug, give a hug. If you want love and a loving person, be love and a loving person. If you want communication, then you communicate first. Don't wait for the other person. And along the lines of communication, God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. Listen twice as much as you speak. Sometimes we get on a nervous roll and we're just going to talk. And we're afraid if we stop, then they'll know who we are. Just listen. And so that creates a safety, a respect. Sarcastic humor can be amusing to a degree, but if it's cutting, if it's hurtful, there's a piece of truth underneath that. I would really highly recommend, if you've always been sarcastic, examine that. I used to have a very sarcastic wit, and I thought it was very clever of me. And what I realized was it was very off-putting, and it was kind of cruel, if we're being honest. So I don't do that anymore. It's just not necessary. So create a safe environment for a woman or a man to show up as who they are, so that they don't feel like they're going to be belittled or put down. Because if someone's belittling you, if someone's putting you down, it's because they feel little. It's because they feel small, and they're trying to steal your power so that they can feel, empowered. But that's not where power comes from. The power has to come from within. And that's why we've talked in the past about confident people. Confident people are so sexy and amazing because they allow you to be who you are too, because they know who they are. All right. Sorry. Tangent.
No, that is, because it's such that emotional safety, we hear a lot about that. And it's such an important point that, I'm glad we're revisiting this. And thanks for everything you added there, because it does. It just, it hits home. It really does. Which brings to the next point, that a successful relationship requires, as they say here, successful conflict. That really, if you don't have conflict, there's might be something wrong. So it's not, conflict isn't a bad thing, but how you handle it, right?
So, Brene Brown reframed it as rumbling. So a healthy rumble means that each person is being truthful. They're being honest, but they're being respectful, and they can be kind in telling the truth. So when you do X, Y, or Z, I want you to know that how I feel is I feel disrespected. And the person's going to go, I had no idea. I'm so sorry. Or the person's going to go, well, too bad. It's good information either way, right? Because we're going back to psychological safety. So communication is, wow, what you just did or said kind of triggered me. And I would really love to explore that, because it's probably not about you. It's about me, and I don't know where the trigger came from. Would you help me walk through this? This happened to me, and I know I've shared it before. And the person said that, and then I said, well, whoa, and this triggered me, and this is how I was. And he's like, oh my gosh, and you did. And it was this weird epiphany, more about that communication than it was about the actual topic. I went, wow, this is powerful.
Yeah, it is. And they say, to your point too, that, approach everything when something happens like that. Listen carefully, because what you think you heard, you may not have heard. And then have the intention of responding in a loving way. I mean, that is much easier said than done. I mean, we're talking about conflict here.
Well, except for once you practice it, it gets easier and easier and easier. And so what you just said at the top there is they might not have heard what you were actually trying to say, which is so important, because now you have, let me give you another tool. The tool is, okay, so what I think I hear you saying is this. Is that correct? Is that what you meant? And the person will go, yes, that's what I meant. Okay, so let me respond to that rather than react. So let me just respond. Or you can say, the person can say, no, that's not at all what I was saying. And you can say, okay, awesome. So help me understand what you really were trying to communicate, because I love you and I want to understand so that we can get past this.
Those words would be really nice to hear when that happens. So great advice if you could implement it. I won't go into the background of that one right now.
We can imagine all kinds of things.
Which brings us to the next point. You've already made this point several times, but let's go into a little bit more detail. And that is practice positive communication. What does that mean?
Okay, so positive communication. Let's talk about the why of positive. Why would you even try to learn how to communicate positively? Because that's going to take a conscious effort. It's going to take kindness. And some people think that kindness is weakness, which it is not. It absolutely is not. Be impeccable with your word. That's in the 4 Agreements, the book, The 4 Agreements, which if you coach with me, I adore that book. And what that means is be kind, be clear, speak from your truth, but also use positive words on yourself. Practice there too, because if you're speaking negatively to other people, you're probably doing the same thing to you. So positive communication you can, it can be an affirmation. It can be, you look lovely today. Wow, I so appreciate how you painted the trim on the house. You took such time and care. Give your guy kudos for his acts of service, right? Because sometimes that's his love language. Yeah, now I'm off on a whole nother tangent. The 5 love languages. If you haven't taken that quiz, go do that.
Well, I think an easy way maybe to sum it up is also just avoid negative language. Like focus on what you want rather than what you don't want. Like, don't do that, don't do this. To focus on what you want might be a really easy way to.
Yeah. Thank goodness I'm actually having a conversation with you, because you always bring in, things that I've missed, which I adore. Thank you so much. Because, don't do that. I can't stand it when you blah, blah, blah. Well, what do you want? I'd rather you said to me, hey, could you maybe pick up your socks when you come in at night, as opposed to, don't leave your stuff here. I'm sick and tired of tripping over your shoes. You suck. It's going to get you a different result, is all I'm saying.
They make a couple other good points. We don't have to, it's kind of obvious, like avoid criticism, don't, and give your undivided attention. Oh my gosh. And right here, it's so annoying when you're talking to someone and then they check their phone, or it gets really, it's insulting.
Just a little bit more on it. You can be passive, and not say anything and be resentful because you haven't communicated, or you can decide it doesn't matter, but then you really have to let it go.
Yeah.
Totally
exactly.
your choice. Totally
That's
your choice.
Such a great point. The other, just a couple more things, and gosh, again, time with you goes so fast, but supporting the other person's independence, that time apart is not a strain on your relationship. It's actually a good thing. That's also tough to swallow sometimes, at least for this one.
Well, okay, so I adore you. So there are different levels of that. Like John, he's not a lot of people person. Like, he doesn't want a lot of people in his life, but he wants me around all the time and would be happy with it. But totally, completely supportive when I go off and do a Silka thing, or I go off and play pickleball, or I go off and get a massage. He's like, oh, have a great time. Never, ever, ever tries to keep me contained, ever. Yeah. So I have the freedom to have to curate my life in the way that I want and have this beautiful man.
Another one then, enjoy special time together. Sounds easy, that makes sense. But when you think about it, at this stage in life, after 50, there's a lot more that we might be willing to do that's special as we're aging, as we're getting older. It gives us opportunities.
Absolutely. Something different, something novel, something exciting, something that gets your dopamine going, that excites you about life. Instead of just the same old dinner and movie. One last one that they say here, build a relationship with yourself. That the relationship we have with ourselves is the key to success for all the relationships we build with others. Yeah, again, true. Easier said than done. What do you say? It's different for everyone, because as you were saying that, I was thinking about the men in your audience, and how they're going to react to that, and how the women in your audience are going to react to it. And I'm not in either one of their brains or the collective brain. So having said that, it's very different for everybody. Now, for the woman who has maybe taking care of the children and taking care of the home and the hearth in the home, right? And not pursued a career, she may need to find, who am I? What is my identity? What is my relationship to me? So, listen, if that woman does that, the man is going to be really happy about it, because she's going to be happier. She's going to be more present. She's going to be not resentful. And then the career woman, man, I've worked my butt off for 5 decades now. I'm exhausted. I think I'll retire. But what am I going to do? That she's got to create a new relationship with herself. And then there's the man. Now, this is why I said it might be a little different for the man, because I feel like men in the society may have more of a defined role or a sense of who they are as a through line in their lives. I don't know, because I've never been a man, unless I was in another life. Cut that out. Make sure you edit that. No, she won't. Anyway, but even, having a relationship with yourself may mean just reading a book, sitting out and having coffee in the morning sun. I don't know what it is for you, but yes,
Yeah.
absolutely connect with the true part of yourself.
And it really goes back to, I think, again, just to sum it up, just be happy with yourself, that you're not depending on making or having this other person make you happy. That's a tough, burden. It's a lot of weight to carry. And
What a
again,
freaking brilliant thing to say. I'm going to repeat that. What a freaking brilliant thing to say. Because you know what? There is nobody outside of you that can make you happy. Mm-hmm. And if that person gets that you think they're supposed to make you happy, and there's a part of them that knows that it's just impossible. There's no way. And so they're constantly failing. It's exhausting. Stop it already. Be happy within yourself, whatever degree that is, however many moments in a day that may be. They'll get more and more. At least that's my experience.
So much to think about. Again, something that seems so straightforward when you really think about it really isn't. And I think my takeaway on this, and then I'll let you close, if you're dating, if you're trying to find someone new, if you're in that process, then you might bring a lot of fear to this process, which a lot of these steps address on not doing this. And if you are in a long-term relationship, you feel the pattern is there, that you might be hesitant to break it, yet it could make such a difference. Joni, I'll let you close.
Well, it's interesting that you said that, because in the long-term relationship, the one person may not want the other person to wake up, because then they'd have to be conscious too. Exactly. Right? Then they'd have to change their brain. They'd have to be more accountable. They'd have to be whatever it is. Okay, so in the new relationships, because I do a lot of dating coaching now. Right. A lot of mostly your people. And so one of the things that I talk to people about is sometimes we do things and we say things and we think things from a place of unconsciousness. Right? Sometimes we don't even know what we're doing. And so if we can become conscious of our style, the pitfalls, the blind spots, our own, not theirs, because we've talked about red flags a million times, our own. Here's what I usually do to sabotage this. And then we pick it apart. I call it pulling threads, so that when they go in and they go to the next person, they don't do that, or they stop themselves.
Right.
So there are many things one can do to find joy, to find aliveness, to find connection. Please don't sit at home going, well, that's fine for you, but I'm a victim. I'm just going to stay a victim, and I'm always going to be a victim. Well, in which case you always will be a victim. Yeah. Exactly. And bless your heart, you don't have to be. Whoever you are, you anonymous person. I adore you. I was that, okay? And you can change.
Yeah. No, I get it. And at some point, with all these points, I think that we all are kind of there. And again, that's why it goes back to the awareness. Joni, thank you so much. I always appreciate your time. As always, I will link to all of your information if you need a motivational coach or a dating coach on this channel. Joni she's wonderful to work with. I'll have all of her information in the show notes. And Joni, we'll see you again soon on Second Act TV. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to subscribe to our channel. The button is right here. Just click on through to YouTube, and when you see the little bell right next to the subscribe button, hit that too, and we'll notify you every time we launch a new video. See you next time.